The man outweighed her by 80 pounds and had 3 combat deployments behind him. He came in fast, certain, the way men come when they've never been stopped. 5 seconds later, he was face down in the sand. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 18 of the most elite warriors in the United States Navy stood frozen in formation, staring at a 22-year-old woman with dark brown hair and calm gray eyes, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. She hadn't even adjusted her stance. "I warned you," she said quietly. "I always warn people first." If you want to see what happens next, subscribe, stay until the end, and drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. Coronado Naval Base sat at the edge of the Pacific like it owned the water, which, in a practical sense, it did. The training yard behind Building 14 was hard-packed sand and discipline, the kind of ground that had broken 10,000 men into soldiers and shaped a fraction of those soldiers into something harder to name. Riley Voss had been standing in that yard for 4 minutes before anyone acknowledged her. She was 22 years old, 5'6", 138 pounds of muscle and controlled stillness. Her dark brown hair hung loose past her shoulders. Not regulation, which was the first thing 3 different petty officers noticed and said nothing about, because something in the way she stood made casual comments feel like a poor decision. She wore an olive green fitted tee, deep V-neck, short sleeves, tucked into military camouflage cargo pants, bloused over tactical boots that had actual dirt on them. Not training yard dirt, the kind that came from somewhere else. Somewhere that didn't show up on standard deployment records. She had a photograph in her left breast pocket. She always had the photograph. The 18 SEALs in formation watched her the way combat veterans watch anything unfamiliar, with professional assessment wrapped inside casual contempt. She heard the whispers. She had been hearing variations of those whispers since the day she walked into a Navy recruiting office in Portland at 18 and said she wanted to be a SEAL. The recruiter had blinked at her for a full 3 seconds. Then he had smiled the way people smile when they're deciding whether to be kind or honest. She had not needed his kindness. She had not particularly needed his honesty either. That was 4 years ago. A lot had happened in 4 years. "Formation," said a voice at the front of the yard. Senior Chief Petty Officer Damian Cale, 29 years old, 6'3", the kind of man whose physical presence rearranged rooms. He had a jaw that looked structural, and eyes the color of shallow water over concrete. Pale blue, flat, already decided. He had led a direct action team through 7 months in Fallujah the previous year. He had lost 2 men and brought 6 home when the math suggested he should have lost 4. He was good. He knew he was good. That knowledge lived in every inch of him like load-bearing infrastructure. He looked at Riley Voss the way she had already cataloged in her memory under Type 3 challenge. Not aggressive yet, but positioned for it, waiting to see what she would do with the attention. She let the silence last exactly long enough to be deliberate. "My name is Riley Voss," she said. Her voice didn't perform anything. It just carried. "You have 30 seconds to decide whether you're going to waste the next 3 weeks or learn something that keeps you alive when your technology fails and your backup doesn't come. Your choice. Clock starts now." Nobody moved for 4 of those 30 seconds. Then Cale took 1 step forward, parade rest casual, which was its own kind of provocation. "Ma'am," he said, and the word carried just enough weight on the "ma'am" to mean something other than respect. "With all due respect, we just came back from Fallujah. We've run direct action in 3 countries in the last 18 months. What exactly is the plan here?" Riley looked at him. Not through him, not past him, at him, the way people look when they are actually gathering information. What's your hand-to-hand certification, Senior Chief? Combatives Level 4, Expert Rating. When did you last use it in the field? He paused, just half a second. November, Fallujah. Did it work? Obviously, I'm standing here. Were you the biggest person in that room? Another pause, longer. Yes. Then it wasn't your technique that worked, Riley said. It was your size. Step forward. The training yard did something Riley had watched training yards do 100 times. It held its breath. The men in formation didn't move, but they shifted. That collective micro-adjustment of attention that meant every set of eyes had just gotten sharper. Cale stepped forward. He smiled, and it wasn't unfriendly, which was somehow worse than if it had been. I don't want to hurt you. You won't, Riley said. The smile changed, hardened around the edges. He came in with a level 4 combination, fast, textbook, built on the assumption that speed and mass closed most arguments before they started. Left jab to create distance, right cross following, shoulders rotating into it. The kind of power that had ended conversations in 3 countries. Riley moved a half-step left. His jab passed 2 inches from her face. His cross followed. She redirected it with her forearm, not blocking, guiding, adding to his own momentum and pulling it past her center line. Cale stumbled, one boot dragging in the sand. His balance fractured for exactly the amount of time she needed. Her hand found his wrist, pressure point, radial nerve, the specific application her father had shown her when she was 9 years old, on the back porch of their house in Portland, while her mother watched through the kitchen window with an expression that mixed pride and resignation in equal measure. Cale's arm went numb from the elbow down. His body followed his arm the way bodies do, natural response to sudden nerve disruption. Nothing personal, just physics. He hit the sand shoulder first and lay there for a full second, staring at the California sky. 5 seconds, start to finish. Riley stepped back. On your feet, Senior Chief. Cale got up slowly. His face was